Hi everyone, I'm Balaji Chippada and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In continuation of our SQL series, in this video, we will learn everything about having command. So without any delay, let's get started. Now let's say if some business person comes and asks you to retrieve, give me all the years in which we have at least 1,000 movies released in that particular year. So how would you do it? We have learned about where condition, right? But this where condition is applied on top of every record, but we want to see per year if there are more than 1,000 movies or not. So how would you do it? So that is where having will help you. Having is a command which we can do the filtering on top of a grouped object. I will explain all of that in detail. And before understanding that, you need to understand that SQL is a tool which is used by software engineers, data scientists, data analysts, and even business people as well. So almost everyone uses SQL, and it is mandatory to know all of these commands such that you will be able to retrieve whatever the information that you want to get from the database. Hopefully that is clear. Now let's understand the importance of where. So how do you solve this problem? Let's say this is the task. From our IMDb dataset, we need to find for all the years how many movies we have, and on top of that we need to add a filter of 1,000 movies, right? So how do you do the first part? So I'm saying here select, I'm selecting year, and I'm counting the year, and I'm giving a alias name as year count. This is an alias name. We have learned this in the previous videos from our table called movies, and we have learned about group by, right? And we are doing a group by of year. So what this will do is this will segregate your data into multiple years. Let's say I have this data and I have year column here, and let's say 1990, 1991, 1990, 1992, 1991. So when I do group by of year, it is going to get me all the similar years into a separate group. We have learned about group by, right? So this is 1990, this is 1991, this is 1992, and we have all the records in all of those things. And then what we are doing an aggregation. Even this aggregation we have learned in the previous video, and we are calculating how many years that we have. So we will have, maybe let's say 2, here we have 2, and here we have 3. Let's assume like this. Now this is the data set in which I get for every year how many movies are present. Now on top of this data set, I have to apply a filter saying I need all the records in which it has more than 1,000, right? That is what our objective is. So to do that, we are having a SQL command called having. We have to say having, and whatever the aggregate that we have done here, like year count, having year count greater than 1,000. You might argue, why can't we use where, right? Even where does the filtering option only, right? I will explain that in a bit while executing the SQL command in the workbench. So let's wait for some time. So just to complete the query, select year, and we are doing an aggregation called year count from our movies table and group by year. So until this part, we have learned in the previous videos how this will work. If you don't understand until this part, please watch our previous videos to understand all of these commands in detail. And this will result you a table, and on top of this we are doing a filtering using an having condition. Hopefully you understood that. So basically having is a specific condition on a group data. If you see here, we are doing a group by, and on top of the group data we are applying a condition called having. So let's execute this query and understand the results in the SQL workbench. Let's quickly go back here and let me execute the same thing here. And if I do it, now I get this data in which I have like this. So year 2000, which is having 11,643 movies, and year 1913 having 3,690 movies. So all of these records are having year count greater than 1,000, and these are not in any sorted order because we haven't sorted by anything. Maybe let's do the sorting as well. So what I would do to do sort, I would have to do order by, and I would say year count. I mean, I need to give the same column name. And if I execute this, now I get the output. I can see that year 1910 is having 1276 movies, and then we have 2005, which is having 1449 movies, and then we have 1557 movies in 1945. So likewise we get all the records in which we have more than 1000 movies released in the particular year. Now you might argue, why can't we have where here? Now let's try where. Let's execute this and see what will happen. And if I execute this, I get an error here. Let me pull out the error a little bit. You have an error in the SQL query, and we have to check the syntax as well, because having is applicable on the grouped products and where is applicable on individual records. But let's assume like this: select name and year from movies where year greater than 2000. We have seen this, right? And let's execute this, and we get all the movies in which year is more than 2000. This is working fine. But can I replace where with having? Now let's try this. And if I do, absolutely I'm not getting any errors. Why? If there is no group by in your SQL query, having is basically like where only. Even if I execute this, because there is no group by, it is not throwing any errors. And whenever there is a group by, you have to use having after a group by, and I can use where before group by. We will talk about that in a bit as well. Just to show you the order of execution, whenever you write a query like this, first it will execute the group by, because group by will segregate your data into multiple sections or chunks, and on top of it, it will do the aggregate functions like count star, and this will return you an output. And on top of this output, you will apply the having condition, and you will get the filtered data like this. So hopefully you understood the order of execution as well. Having is often used along with group by, but it is not mandatory. Even though there is no group by, you can apply having, but in these scenarios, it is preferred to use where if there is no group by. Just a standard, it will not throw any errors. But if there is a group by, you have to use having after a group by. Now let's have this query, and let me go back to the SQL workbench and understand what is happening here. If you see, what I'm doing is I'm selecting year, and I'm doing an aggregate function. This is an aggregate function. I'm giving a alias name here from my movies table, where I'm using where as well. Rank score is greater than 9.2, and then after that I'm doing a group by. I'm doing a group by of year, and after that I am having my condition year count greater than 20. So let's understand how this flow will works. So let's say this is my whole data in which I have rank score value in this column. Now it will first check for where condition, and it will filter my data having rank score 9.2. So my output from this would be, I have another data in which rank score is greater than 9.2, and on top of this data we are having a group by of year. So it will split my data into multiple chunks based upon a year column, and after that it will do a count aggregation. So this will be output as year and year count, and I have year and year count values. And from this table, I will have a condition called year count greater than 20. So this is the order of execution. Now let me repeat the order of execution again. Initially, it will do a where condition of rank score 9.2 greater than, and then it will do a group by, and then it will do an aggregation function, and then on top of it, we are having a having condition. So this is the order of execution, and like this, you can mix and match where, group by, and having in this SQL query, and this will not throw any issues. So what this basically is, let me show you the output, and let me explain what the output means. So I have year 2003 in which I have 50 movies, in which all of these are movies are having greater than 9.2 rank score. And 2001 I have 26 movies, and all of these movies are having rank score of 9.2 greater than or equal to. So likewise, I can mix and match where, group by, and having to get my desired output. Now let's understand the differences between a having and where. So having is basically applied after a group by function, and it is not mandatory, but usually people use having after a group by, and where is being used before the group by, and where is applied on individual records, and having is applied on a group of records. Hopefully you understood the difference between having and where, and how you can use these two commands to get the desired output. And that's all for this video, guys. We have learned how to use and why do we need having command, and we have also understood the difference between where and having, and in which scenarios we have to use which command. If you learned something new from this video, please do subscribe and click that bell icon to get notified daily. If you have any queries so far, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will reply to each and every one of you. And we will meet in the next video. Bye bye.